Okay, so we're looking at this quadratic, and I know it's a quadratic because I got a b squared, a b determinant constant. It's polynomial degree 2. I want to factor it, so I want to create multiplication. So what I'm looking to do, right, is create, right, this in binomials, this binomial times that binomial. And there's a lot going on here as far as the numbers because they're big, right? I got this a value here of 7, negative 63, and 140. So here I'm actually going to rewrite this a little bit below it. 7b squared minus 63b plus 140. Immediately what I'm thinking to do is I want to factor out a common term. I want to look at the numbers 7, negative 63, and 140 and pull out a number that goes into all of them to get these things smaller and leave behind something that is easier to factor. So looking at that, I can tell that the number 7 goes into all of those. So I'm going to factor that out. I'm going to pull it out with multiplication. That is going to leave behind here a b squared, right? Because 7 times b squared is 7b squared. This is going to leave behind a minus 9b. 63 divided by 7 is 9, so I got a minus 9b. And then this is a plus 20. So I now have something that is much easier to factor. This is really what I'm going to think about factoring. And some of you guys are probably ready to do right away, just do the binomials. You can tell that it's going to be b and b because it's b squared. And then you need the numbers that will multiply together to get 20 and add to get negative 9. If you don't see that, that's totally fine. We can set up a little area model. The area model will always get us to our answer. B squared is always going to go top right. 20 is always going to go top left, bottom right. There we go. And then we need to put the numbers here that will add up to be a negative 9. And we set up a diamond problem to do that. They need to add to negative 9. And then they need to have the same product as b squared times 20. The coefficients there, 1 and 20. It's a little bit lazy here. I'm setting up my diamond problem without the variables. You can do it either way. I could make this 20b squared and a minus 9b. Some students find that they like it with just the numbers. So I need numbers that multiply together to get 20 and add to negative 9. I start thinking about my factors of 20. All right, 1, 20, 2, 10, 4, 5. They need to add to be negative, so and multiply to be positive, so they both got to be negative. That's what I'm looking for there. That's going to get me the pieces that I need. So I'll do a negative 4 and a negative 5. Once I put them in the area model, if you do your diamond problem without the variables, you have to put the variables on it. Negative 4b, negative 5b. And then from here, I can go ahead and just factor. I know I got a b squared. Or sorry, ooh, that is incorrect. There should not be a squared there. It should just be b times b. And then I'm going to have a minus 4 here and a minus 5 here. B minus 4, b minus 5. Those are my binomials when I multiply this whole thing out. So this guy goes from this to really that is my final answer. I'll put the final answer down here, nice and clear. Notice that that 7 that I factored out at the beginning is part of the answer. The most common mistakes that I see people make is once they factor out the 7, they forget to include it as part of the answer, but we want to make sure that it's there. Now, one other thing that I should maybe point out is that if I had not factored out that 7 right away, I still could have factored this. And let me just show you that real quick. I'm going to take this guy and rewrite it here. 7b squared minus 63b plus 140. And, oh, there we go. And I certainly could have used my area model here as the numbers are, but you'll see how much bigger everything gets and how much more challenging it is. So I put my 7b squared here. I put my 140 here. I could set up my diamond problem. I know the numbers have to add to a negative 63. And then look, they have to have the same product as 7 times 140. That number's pretty big. 7 times 140. 980. So I have to look now, if I don't factor out that 7, I have to look at the factors of 980 that will combine to get negative 63. And that is significantly more challenging. It's doable, but you can just see how much easier your life is if you factor out that 7 right away and factor this guy. It's much more digestible, much easier to do. All right, I hope that's helpful. Message me anytime with questions.